Okay, so today I got a little Mesa build guide here. So yeah, Mesa Heat, Mesa Hot Mesa build, spicy regulators. I don't know. I haven't thought of a title for the build yet, but you'll get the gist. This is inspired, has taken some bits and pieces from other
Stand
builds
by
I've
while I
seen.
analyze
Shut
the
up,
intelligence
Ordis.
profiles of the Grineer.
Um,
Error, not a number.
did the operator enjoy this?
The
What's the system?
operator in
This has taken inspiration from other builds I've seen throughout the community. Um, some random people on Reddit, Nightmare Frame for the Hotshot idea. I was using Innervate, but we'll get into that in a sec. So for your Mesa mods, you can use really any aura you want. I'm using Corrosive Projection for less enemy armor. You could also use Combat Discipline, and I'll go into this in a sec, other build routes, because I was using this. You could use Growing Power for more strength, but for build specifically, you're going to want to use Corrosive Projection for the main build or Growing Power. I would recommend. Um, Now you can again power drift whatever. This is kind of your flex. This and this are your two flex slots. I use power drift because I like the more ability strength, and then Augur Secrets is good for more ability strength. You could also switch that out for more duration with Augur Message or Reach if you wanted more range for your ult to be able to shoot enemies from further away. It's kind of up to you. Equilibrium for more energy because you don't really. I mean, your only energy you have Nourish here for more energy, but you don't have anything that generates energy other than Nourish giving you more from kills. So you're gonna want Equilibrium to get even more energy from those pickups because that's where you'll be getting your energy from. Um, Narrow-minded for more duration on our skills here, other than our ult, obviously. Uh, Precision Intensify for your ult because that's this whole build. It's just the ult. Your fourth skill, I guess. Peacemaker. Blind Rage for more damage. Transient Fortitude, more damage. Augur Secrets, like I said, you can switch it out, but in this case, more damage. You could do more duration, which is what I would recommend if you're not going to do more strength here, unless you had one more survivability. Um, Continuity, more duration for our skills here that we'll be using. And then Flow, two max energy Archons. Took those off, put on Prime Flow, because that just makes things run easier. Recently picked up Arcane Hotshot R5 and Arcane Velocity. Now, Velocity is pretty good, just increasing your overall DPS. I didn't think it was that good before. I actually used Molt Augmented and Arcane Energize, but it does work without those two. Um, this is optimal for the heat setup. Now, like I was saying earlier, you can use Arcane Avenger and in your aura slot here, Combat Discipline to proc Arcane Avenger, which is more consistent. You have it more often. Now this you don't have as often because you have to kind of stack it up. You have to get a little further into the mission, but it goes higher than Arcane Avenger can. Arcane Avenger is like immediate. You get that damage boost, you get the crit damage, and you're there. But it doesn't go any higher is the issue. This, while initially is lower, does stack up better. And then obviously, you wouldn't be using Hotshot because if you're not doing the heat, I would just use Arcane Avenger, Arcane Energize, Molt Augmented if you want more damage, more ability strength. Um, so yeah, those are her mods. Now, primary, kind of whatever you want. I'm using the Jupiter just because I like it. I just have like a basic status build with the Riven, but um, you could use anything. I just use like Torrid or a Seltra on like every build. So, really whatever you want here, but I would recommend something that armor strips if you wanted that because there's not really any armor strip in this build. So if you just wanted something that armor strips, Jupiter has corrosive, can run that. Secondaries, I recommend dual toxicist because Mesa is really good for secondary. So if you're out of energy, you need to use a weapon. Secondary is going to be what you want to use. Uh, I like the dual toxicist. They look cool with the gold guns on her arms. You don't need the Riven. This is just there. This build works as is without the Riven. Just swap in, like, you could do some crit chance, uh, status mod, just any kind of like damage supplement, because this is just damage. So you can replace this with any damage you want, but you want to make sure it has corrosive. This radiation is just from this fire rate mod. But yeah, you're gonna want the status set, so the galvanized set, target cracker, crit damage, accelerated isotope. You don't have to use. This is just to get more fire rate. Radiation doesn't. You don't need that. So if you want to switch this out for something else, you can. Um, Ammo mutation, just because if you're using your secondaries a lot, you're gonna run out of ammo, especially with these things. Uh, the Riven, again, it's just damage Riven. You can switch this out for whatever you want. More fire rate, multi-shot, just a good mod there. Gonna want this one. Gonna want lethal torrent. Convulsion, electricity. I would do primed, so I'm probably gonna forma and see if I can put that on, just to get some more damage. But base convulsion is good too. And then pistol pestilence for more status chance, because with this build you want high status. These aren't your main source of status, but you know, if you have to use them, it wouldn't hurt to have more status for corrosive. Now, your melee, oh, and then the arcane, obviously, secondary merciless. You could also do deadhead because these are headshot weapons, to build up their incarnon, but either way. And then here you're gonna want the Fear Axe, obviously, for the increased fire rate. Super good for her. Like pretty much anything you can get that increases fire rate is gonna be good for her for, because stacking up the heat procs with this build, it just to get out as much damage as you can. So increased fire rate, gonna want that. You're not gonna be using the melee anyways. It's Mesa. Regulators Prime. Here is where things are very similar to the dual toxicist. We have diffusion, multi-shot. Obviously need multi-shot. Crit damage, pathogen rounds for toxin. Primed convulsion here. Primed heated charge. Now these two mods are very important. You're going to want primed heated charge or normal heated charge and scorch, because for this build you need the heat. And then we also have creeping bullseye, lethal torrent again for more fire rate, and then secondary merciless. But you need to have scorch. Um, the way this whole build works is around Hotshot here, where you gain increased crit chance for 10 seconds when using abilities to inflict heat status on enemies. Stacks up to 50 times. That's a 300% crit chance boost. Now that'll only work if your regulators are applying heat. Don't worry about the dual toxicist applying heat, because that's why it's not on there. The regulators is what you want to apply heat on. The I will say the timer of 10 seconds is quite short. My status chance is not high, 16%. Um, Obviously I'd want it to be a little higher, but I seem to get enough shots off with all the fire rate that it stays there. Now, before I had this build, I was not using Merciless, I was using Innervate. On hit, increases crit chance by 10%, resets after 6 big critical hits. Big critical hits are the big numbers. Not a number that has more numbers, but a number that is literally bigger. It's a visually bigger number. From what I understand, I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Um, that is what I was using before. I had Hot Shot with the Scorched. if you don't have Hotshot, switch out Heated Charge, Galvanized Shot over Scorch, and then Heated Charge I had Carnus Stinger or maybe Augur Pact. You could really do whatever you want to do there, but ideally you want to have Hotshot. Now, for this guy, mine is not the best. I have Shade Prime, General, Bond build, Reinforced, Manifold, Tenacious, Duplex. This guy is just this. This is kind of just like a general build here. If you want to copy this, you can. You can switch some stuff out depending on what you think would be better. I would say you need Duplex Bond though, because this guy, his whole job is just priming enemies for your hot shot. So on this guy, you want to have Scorched, obviously for the fire, Jolt, Pistol Pestilence, just getting some, you get some corrosive to decrease enemy armor, and then you need Scorch. Augur Seeker for more status to make the Scorch last longer, so you, if he primes an enemy that you're not targeting, they'll still have the heat by the time you get to them. Augur Pact, just for some extra damage. Lethal Torrent to get him to shoot more. Multi-shot, Pistol Gambit. Just getting some things on him to boost up his damage a little bit, but just spread debuffs, basically. Now I'm using Burst Laser here. Ideally, if I had it, I'd want the Tazakor. I believe that's what it is. The one that chains between enemies. But I don't want to go level up Fortuna, so if you have Fortuna leveled up, by all means use the Tazakor. Just pretty much just priming with heat is your goal. The build does a lot of damage, which you'll see in the gameplay. Now, for the helmet, as I mentioned before, we have Nourish infused over our first skill, just to help. I mean, Nourish is good for your summons, spread viral, you know, for your galvanized, and helps with energy is really the main reason. If you don't have Nourish, you could use Roar. I would really recommend Nourish though, because you really need the energy efficiency. If you don't have Nourish, I would say run maybe 2 Equilibrium Shards or something, maybe more energy capacity, just stuff to help with energy. All with increased secondary crit chance by 1.5 each time you kill an enemy inflicted with heat. This goes hand in hand with Hotshot. If you don't have Hotshot, like I said, probably swap these out for ability strength or whatever else you need. I have a shield capacity in here just to give me a little more health because I don't need the energy because of Prime Flow. But like I said before, if you don't have Prime Flow, put this on energy max. Pretty simple there. So that is the gist of the build. Now I will jump into a Steel Path mission and show you how it goes in a survival. Just general Mott Steel Path. Nothing special.
Must be practiced to truly master.
So here, first thing you're going to want to do when you load in, I would recommend having Wellspring Operator on just to stack up your energy. Because one thing you'll notice, if you're doing solo, you're going to want to be able to pop all of your abilities at the beginning of the mission to stack up your buffs and everything to kill the enemies. It doesn't take long, but it gets expensive because of your 4th skill. It takes a lot of energy off rip. If you have an energy pad you want to throw down, you know, whatever, just try to make sure you get some energy at the beginning. And if you trust your weapon enough, you don't have to do that. You can just start it right off the bat, kill enemies, get some energy, and then go. You want to pop Nourish, though, before you do that, to get your energy from the enemies. So kind of like the loop here, you Nourish, and then 2nd, 3rd, and then you just go into your regulators and hold down the trigger. It's that simple. And you see I'm out of energy already. Uh, but yeah. It's not hard. And you can see my duplicates up there, spreading some heat procs, which is stacking up Hotshot in the top right. It is my third to last buff. Right here. We can see it runs out pretty quick. That's what I was saying earlier. Like you need to be on top of it. Really paying attention to that top right timer. Specifically for that buff. All the other buffs they don't run out that fast. Or at least if they do, you can get them back pretty quick, but that one runs out fast. And it's an important one to have because it's a big buff to your overall damage. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep going here, and I will cut to whenever the Acolyte spawns, and kind of show you how it does against that guy. Alright, so we got the Acolyte spawning in here. Now, this guy should die pretty quick. Yeah. As you can see, the only reason he didn't die instantly is because he went invincible. Or invulnerable. It does a lot of damage. And not only does it do a lot of damage, it does a lot of damage very quick with all the fire rate. That is what makes it so potent. Really, for Mesa, you can't get much better than this. This is a crazy, for at least in terms of what I've tried, because I had a Mesa build before this, and I saw this a couple months ago, but this was kind of when Hotshot first came out, so I tried the build, and was like, man, it really needs Hotshot, because I saw people in the comments saying Innervate was a good substitute, and it was. It was a good substitute for a while, but it just didn't have that consistency that this has once you get it stacked up. Now, like I said before, Arcane Avenger and Combat Discipline, still a good combo, but this just feels so much beefier than that build did for me, at least. I feel like I can rely on this to just kind of always be good, and this is simple. You activate your abilities, and you shoot them. Can't get much easier than that. Except for maybe Revenant, when you just, like, fall asleep and beat the mission, because you're invincible, but I appreciate you watching, sticking to the end. I'm gonna try to make some more videos here soon. If you liked and subbed, it'd help out a lot. Give me the motivation to keep going and keep making videos. So don't expect all Warframe stuff. I love making Warframe videos. I love making all kinds of videos. So if you want to see anything specifically, let me know in the comments. And yeah, see you in the next one.